Welcome back to Easy English Talk Podcast.
Imagine saying no to someone, and instead of feeling guilty, you feel free. That moment when you realize your time actually belongs to you. Welcome to Easy English Talk Podcast. I'm Ryan, and with me is Priya. Today we're discussing what happens when you stop people-pleasing.
Hi, everyone. This topic matters because so many of us give away our energy without thinking. We say yes when we mean no, and we wonder why we feel exhausted. Understanding what changes when we stop can truly transform how we live.
Exactly. And the benefits are real and immediate. By the end of this conversation, you'll understand why people-pleasing holds you back. You'll learn what actually happens in your life when you stop, and you'll have clear steps to start making this change today.
So let's start with the core issue. People-pleasing looks helpful on the surface, but it creates real problems. When you constantly put others first, you lose touch with what you actually want and need in your own life.
Right. And here's the thing most people don't realize at first. People-pleasing isn't kindness. True kindness comes from choice, but people-pleasing comes from fear. It's the fear of rejection, the fear of conflict, or the fear that people won't like you.
That fear runs deep. Many people-pleasers grew up learning that their value depended on making others happy. Maybe they had parents who only showed love when they behaved perfectly. Or maybe they faced rejection early in life and learned to avoid it at all costs.
So they develop this pattern. They scan every room for what others need. They adjust their opinions based on who's listening. They apologize constantly, even when they did nothing wrong. Sound familiar to anyone listening?
Very familiar, I think. And the exhausting part is that you're always performing. You can't relax because you're too busy managing everyone else's feelings. You become an expert at reading people, but terrible at reading yourself.
Let me give you a clear example. Imagine your friend asks you to help them move this weekend. You already plan to rest because you've been working hard all week, but you say yes anyway because you don't want them to think you're selfish. So, Saturday comes and you're lifting boxes while your body screams for rest. Your friend is grateful, sure, but you feel resentful. That resentment grows quietly inside you. And here's the twist. Your friend has no idea because you never told them the truth.
Exactly. And that pattern repeats across your whole life. You agree to projects at work you don't have time for. You attend events you don't enjoy. You listen to people complain for hours while your own problems go unspoken.
Eventually, you look at your life and barely recognize it. Because it's not really your life anymore. It's a collection of everyone else's needs and wants. Your schedule belongs to others. Your decisions get made based on what people might think. Even your emotions get pushed down because expressing them might upset someone.
And the really painful part? People-pleasers often feel lonely even when surrounded by people because nobody truly knows them. All those relationships are built on a false version of you, the version that always agrees, always helps, always smiles.
Yes, and that false version gets exhausting to maintain. You start feeling angry at people for taking advantage of you, but they're not really taking advantage. You never set boundaries in the first place. You taught them that you're always available, always willing.
So, resentment builds toward others, but also toward yourself. You feel weak for not speaking up. You feel frustrated that you can't just be normal like other people who seem to say no so easily. You wonder what's wrong with you.
Nothing is wrong with you. You just learned a strategy for staying safe that no longer serves you. As a child, pleasing others might have protected you from anger or rejection. But as an adult, it's actually creating the very problems you're trying to avoid. Let's talk about what those problems look like in daily life. First, there's the time problem. People-pleasers have no time for themselves because they give it all away. They're the first to volunteer, the last to leave, the one everyone calls when they need something.
Then there's the identity problem. When you spend years adjusting yourself to match what others want, you lose track of your own preferences. Someone asks what restaurant you want, and you genuinely don't know. You've been choosing based on what others like for so long.
There's also the respect problem, and this one surprises people. You might think that always being nice makes people respect you more, but actually the opposite happens. When you have no boundaries, people see you as less capable, less important.
It's true. Think about the people you respect most. They probably have clear boundaries. They say no when they need to. They express their real opinions, even when unpopular. That strength draws respect, while people-pleasing often draws pity or dismissal.
And then there's the stress problem. Your body keeps the score of all that people-pleasing. The constant anxiety about what others think raises your stress hormones. The resentment you swallow creates tension in your muscles. Many people-pleasers develop headaches, stomach problems, or sleep issues.
All of this together creates a life that looks successful from outside but feels empty from inside. You might have many friends, a busy social calendar, a reputation as helpful, but you feel drained, unfulfilled, and somehow invisible.
So that's the problem clearly explained. Now let's talk about what actually happens when you stop. And I want to be honest here, the transition isn't always comfortable at first. Change rarely is, even when it's positive change.
Right. When you first start saying no or expressing your real opinions, it feels wrong. Your body might actually feel anxious or guilty because you're breaking a pattern you followed for years. That discomfort is normal and temporary.
Some people in your life will also react with surprise or even frustration. They got used to the old you, the one who always said yes. When you change, they have to adjust, and not everyone will like that adjustment initially.
But here's what happens next, and this is the beautiful part. The people who truly care about you will adjust and respect your boundaries. They might be surprised at first, but real friends want you to be happy and healthy. They'll support the change.
And the people who get angry or reject you, they were only around because of what you did for them, not because they valued you as a person. Losing those relationships actually clears space for better ones.
So the first major thing that happens is your relationships become more honest. Instead of having 50 surface-level connections based on pleasing, you develop 10 deep connections based on mutual respect. Quality replaces quantity.
The second thing that happens is you get your time back. Imagine suddenly having hours in your week that you can use however you want. You can rest, pursue hobbies, work on goals, or simply do nothing. That time belongs to you again.
And with that time comes energy. When you're not constantly managing everyone else's emotions and needs, you have energy left for yourself. You wake up feeling more alive. You have enthusiasm for your own life again.
The third major change is you start discovering who you actually are. Remember how we said people pleasers lose their identity? Well, when you stop pleasing, that identity starts coming back. You remember what foods you genuinely enjoy, what activities make you happy.
It's like meeting yourself for the first time in years. You have opinions that don't change based on who's listening. You make choices based on your values, not others' approval. You become a real person again instead of a mirror reflecting everyone else.
Fourth, you gain respect from others. This often surprises new boundary setters. They worry that saying no will make people angry. Sometimes it does briefly, but more often, people respect you more. They see you as someone with self-respect, and that commands their respect too.
People also start trusting you more. When you always say yes, people wonder if you mean it. But when you have boundaries, your yes means yes. When you compliment someone or agree to help, they know it's genuine, not just you being nice.
The fifth change is internal, and it might be the most important. Your anxiety starts decreasing. When you live authentically, you're not constantly worried about managing impressions or avoiding conflict. You can relax because you're not performing anymore.
That relaxation affects everything. Your sleep improves, your digestion improves, your mood stabilizes because you're not swallowing resentment all day. Many people say they feel lighter, like a weight lifted off their shoulders.
The sixth thing that happens is you become more effective in all areas of life. At work, you focus on important projects instead of saying yes to everything. Your quality improves because you're not spread too thin.
In relationships, you're more present because you're not exhausted from overgiving. In personal goals, you actually make progress because you protect time for what matters to you. Everything improves when you stop scattering your energy everywhere.
Now let's talk about how actually to make this change. Because understanding the benefits isn't enough, you need practical steps. The first step is becoming aware of your people-pleasing patterns. Start noticing when you say yes but feel no inside.
Keep it simple at first. Just notice without judging yourself. I just agreed to work late even though I'm tired. I just changed my opinion to match theirs. Awareness is the foundation. You can't change patterns you don't see.
The second step is understanding that no is a complete sentence. You don't need elaborate excuses or justifications. No, I can't do that is perfectly acceptable. The more you explain, the more you give people room to argue or guilt you.
Practice saying no in low-stakes situations first. When a store clerk asks you if you want to add something to your purchase, say no without apologizing. When someone offers you food you don't want, decline simply. Build the muscle gradually.
Third step, delay your responses. People pleasers tend to say yes immediately before thinking. When someone asks something of you, train yourself to say, "Let me check my schedule and get back to you." This gives you time to consider if you genuinely want to do it.
During that delay, ask yourself key questions. Do I have time for this? Do I want to do this, or do I just fear saying no? What would I be giving up to say yes? Those questions help you make real choices instead of automatic people-pleasing.
The fourth step is accepting discomfort. When you first set boundaries, you'll feel guilty. That guilt doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It means you're breaking an old pattern. Feel the guilt and set the boundary anyway.
Think of it like exercise. Your muscles feel sore when you start working out, but that soreness means you're building strength. Boundary guilt is similar. It's temporary discomfort that leads to long-term strength and freedom.
Fifth step is to start expressing your preferences in small ways. Order the food you want at restaurants instead of going along with the group. Choose the movie you prefer. Share your honest opinion about simple topics. Practice having a voice in low-risk situations.
As you practice, you'll notice that most people don't react badly. They might be surprised, but they adjust quickly. Your fear was often bigger than the actual consequences. That realization builds confidence for bigger boundary setting.
Step 6 is crucial. Stop apologizing for existing. People pleasers apologize constantly. Sorry to bother you. Sorry, can I ask a question? You have every right to take up space, ask questions, have needs. Stop apologizing for being human.
Replace apologies with statements. Instead of sorry to bother you, try thanks for your time. Instead of sorry, I can't help, say I can't take that on. The shift from apologizing to simply stating facts changes how others perceive and treat you.
Step 7 is to choose your hard. Saying no is hard. Living with resentment and exhaustion is also hard. Choose which hard you prefer. Personally, I'd rather deal with brief discomfort from boundaries than years of drained, inauthentic living.
That perspective helps when you're tempted to slip back into pleasing. Yes, this conversation might be uncomfortable, but living exhausted and resentful for another year is harder. You're not choosing between hard and easy, you're choosing between two different kinds of hard.
Step 8, surround yourself with people who respect boundaries. As you change, you'll naturally attract healthier relationships. Seek out people who say no when they need to, who express their real opinions, who model healthy boundaries.
Those relationships teach you what normal looks like. When you're around people who respect themselves and others, you see that boundaries don't destroy relationships, they strengthen them. You learn what mutual respect actually feels like.
The ninth step is to expect resistance from some people and don't let it stop you. Some folks will test your new boundaries. They'll push back, guilt trip, or act hurt. This is them trying to train you back into people-pleasing. Stand firm anyway.
Their discomfort with your boundaries is their problem to manage, not yours to fix. You're not responsible for everyone's feelings. You're responsible for living with integrity and taking care of yourself. Those who truly care will adapt.
Step 10, celebrate your wins. Each time you set a boundary, even a small one, acknowledge it. You're rebuilding yourself into someone stronger and more authentic. That deserves recognition. Tell a friend, write it down, give yourself credit.
Celebrating small wins creates momentum. It trains your brain to associate boundary setting with positive feelings instead of just guilt. Over time, boundaries start feeling natural instead of foreign.
Let's talk about some specific scenarios to make this practical. Imagine a coworker asks you to cover their shift again, and you're already exhausted. Old you would say yes immediately. New you says, I can't cover this time. Hope you find someone.
They might respond with, come on, you've done it before, I really need this. Old you would cave at this pressure. New you stays firm. I understand it's tough. I'm not available. Then change the subject or walk away. Don't keep negotiating.
Another scenario, your family expects you at every gathering and it drains you. You don't have to attend everything. You can say, I need some rest this weekend. I'll see you at the next one. They might guilt you, but you don't have to explain or justify.
Or imagine a friend calls to complain about the same problem for the 100th time, never taking your advice. You can say, I care about you, but I don't have energy for this conversation right now. Let's talk about something else or catch up another time.
These examples show that boundary setting isn't mean, it's honest. You're treating others like adults who can handle the truth, and you're treating yourself with the respect you deserve. Both are signs of maturity.
Now let's address a common fear. People worry that if they stop pleasing, they'll become selfish or rude. But there's a huge difference between people-pleasing and genuine kindness. Kindness comes from choice and abundance. People-pleasing comes from fear and obligation.
When you stop people-pleasing, you can still be kind. You can still help people, but you choose when and how based on your capacity and genuine desire. You help because you want to, not because you're afraid of the consequences of saying no.
Actually, your kindness becomes more valuable when it's a choice. If you help someone because you genuinely care and have the capacity, that means something. If you help from obligation while resenting it, that helps no one. Not them, not you.
Another fear is loneliness. What if everyone leaves when you stop pleasing them? Here's the truth. Some people might leave, but those weren't real relationships anyway. Real relationships survive boundaries. In fact, they improve with boundaries.
And yes, you might have fewer relationships initially, but the ones that remain will be deeper and more satisfying. You'll have friends who know the real you and love that person. That's worth infinitely more than a crowd of surface connections.
Let's also discuss the ripple effects on other areas of life. When you stop people-pleasing, your career often improves. You stop taking on work that isn't your responsibility. You speak up in meetings. You negotiate better because you believe you deserve good things.
Your physical health improves too. Stress decreases, sleep improves, and you have energy for exercise or healthy cooking because you're not exhausted from overgiving. Your body relaxes when your mind stops constantly scanning for threats to others' happiness.
Your creativity increases. People-pleasers suppress their authentic ideas because they worry about judgment. When you stop caring so much about approval, you start expressing original thoughts. You take creative risks. You make interesting things.
Your finances might even improve. People pleasers often overspend to make others happy, buying gifts they can't afford, picking up checks, the lending money they need. When you set boundaries, you keep more of your resources for your own security and goals.
Romantic relationships transform dramatically. People-pleasers often attract partners who take advantage of their giving nature. When you stop that pattern, you either transform the dynamic with your current partner or attract someone who values mutual respect.
If you're single, you stop accepting poor treatment just to have someone. You wait for people who match your energy and respect your boundaries. Dating becomes easier because you're clear about what you will and won't accept.
There's also a spiritual element. Many people describe stopping people-pleasing as finally living in alignment with their true self. It feels like coming home to yourself after years of wandering lost. There's peace in authenticity that no amount of approval can match.
You stop betraying yourself with every yes you don't mean. That self-betrayal creates deep inner conflict. When you honor your truth, even when it's uncomfortable, you build trust with yourself. You become someone you can rely on.
Let's talk about handling guilt specifically, because this stops many people. When you first set boundaries, guilt floods in. Your brain says, you're being selfish, you're hurting them, you're a bad person. Those thoughts feel very real and very convincing.
But feelings aren't facts. That guilt is just your old programming trying to keep you safe by keeping you pleasing. Thank the guilt for trying to protect you, then set the boundary anyway. The guilt will decrease over time as new patterns form.
Also remember that you're not responsible for managing everyone's disappointment. People can feel disappointed and still be okay. They're adults. They'll survive hearing no. Their disappointment is not an emergency you must fix.
In fact, letting people experience disappointment without rushing to fix it teaches them resilience. If you constantly buffer them from any negative feeling, you're actually preventing their growth. Boundaries serve everyone in the long run.
What about situations where you genuinely made a commitment and now realize you can't fulfill it? You don't have to continue just because you started. You can say, I realize I overcommitted. I need to step back from this. I apologize for any inconvenience.
Yes, it might create temporary inconvenience, but continuing while resentful creates bigger problems. It's better to be honest and let them find someone who can help enthusiastically than to continue half-heartedly while building resentment.
Some listeners might wonder about cultural differences. In some cultures, putting others first is deeply valued. How do you stop people-pleasing while respecting cultural values? Great question. There's a difference between cultural respect and losing yourself entirely.
You can honor your culture's values while still maintaining boundaries. You can contribute to family or community without sacrificing your health and happiness. Find the balance that lets you participate authentically rather than from obligation and resentment.
Also, remember that cultural traditions evolve. Every generation adapts them slightly. You can respect your heritage while also respecting yourself. That's not betrayal, that's integration. You can honor where you come from and where you're going.
Let's discuss what success looks like. You'll know you're making progress when saying no feels less scary, when you can state your needs without extensive justification, when you notice relationships improving rather than falling apart because of your honesty.
You'll notice you have more energy at the end of the day. You'll feel more like yourself. You'll make decisions faster because you're not calculating everyone else's potential reactions. You'll laugh more freely because you're not performing.
You might also notice that people start coming to you with more respect. They ask rather than assume. They value your time because you've shown them it's valuable. They're impressed by your clarity and confidence.
Success also looks like occasionally messing up and being okay with that. Sometimes you'll slip back into old patterns. You'll say yes when you meant no, or you'll apologize unnecessarily. That's normal. Just notice it, learn from it, and try again.
Progress isn't linear. Some days will feel easier than others. Some relationships will adjust smoothly while others create friction. Keep going anyway. Every boundary you set, even imperfectly, is practice for the next one.
Let me share something important. When you stop people-pleasing, you might discover emotions you've been avoiding. Anger about how you've been treated, grief for time lost, frustration at yourself for waiting so long. Let those emotions surface.
Those feelings are part of healing. You've been pushing them down for years while focusing on everyone else. Now they need acknowledgement. Feel them, process them with a journal or therapist if needed, and let them move through you.
As you heal, you might also realize you need to apologize to yourself for all the times you betrayed your own needs, for all the yeses you didn't mean, for all the years of self-abandonment. That self-forgiveness is powerful medicine.
Be gentle with yourself during this transition. You developed people-pleasing for good reasons. It protected you once. Thank that younger version of you for keeping you safe. Then explain that you have new tools now, better ways to navigate relationships.
One more practical tip. Create a boundary script. Write down a few phrases you can use when you need to say no. That doesn't work for me. I can't take that on. I need to think about it. Having prepared phrases reduces anxiety.
Practice these phrases out loud when alone. Seriously, stand in front of a mirror and say them. Hear your voice setting boundaries. This might feel silly, but it programs your brain and mouth to form these words when needed.
Also, find accountability. Tell someone you trust that you're working on boundaries. Ask them to check in with you. Share your wins and struggles. Having support makes this process easier and helps you stay committed when it gets uncomfortable.
You might consider working with a therapist, especially if your people-pleasing stems from trauma or deep-rooted family patterns. There's no shame in getting professional support. This is important work that affects every area of your life.
As we move toward wrapping up, I want to emphasize something. Stopping people-pleasing is not selfish. Taking care of yourself is not selfish. Having boundaries is not selfish. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and constantly pleasing others empties your cup completely.
You deserve to have a life that feels like yours. You deserve relationships based on mutual respect, not one-sided giving. You deserve to go to bed feeling satisfied with how you spent your day, not resentful that you gave it all away.
The world doesn't need more exhausted people-pleasers. It needs people who are genuine, energized, and living from their authentic self. When you honor your boundaries, you give others permission to honor theirs too. You model healthy behavior.
Think about the people you admire most. Chances are they have clear boundaries. They say no. They pursue what matters to them. They're kind but firm. That's who you can become when you stop abandoning yourself to please others.
Remember, this is a journey, not a destination. You won't wake up tomorrow with perfect boundaries. Some days you'll feel strong. Other days you'll slip into old patterns. That's completely normal. What matters is the overall direction you're moving.
Every single boundary you set, no matter how small, is a victory. Every time you honor your truth, even when it's uncomfortable, you're building a new relationship with yourself. That relationship is the foundation of everything else in your life.
So start today. Start small if you need to. Say no to one thing you would normally agree to. Express one preference you usually keep hidden. Take 1 hour for yourself without guilt. Each small step creates momentum.
And be patient with yourself. You've been people-pleasing for years, maybe decades. Changing that pattern takes time and practice. What matters is that you've decided to change. That decision itself is powerful and courageous.
As we close, let's summarize the key points. People-pleasing creates exhaustion, resentment, and loss of identity. When you stop, you initially feel discomfort and guilt, but that passes. What remains is freedom, energy, authentic relationships, and a life that feels like yours.
The practical steps are clear. Notice your patterns, practice saying no, delay responses to think clearly, accept temporary discomfort, express small preferences, stop apologizing for existing, choose your heart, celebrate your wins, and keep going even when it's tough.
The benefits touch every area of life. Better relationships, more time and energy, clearer identity, increased respect from others, lower anxiety, improved health, greater effectiveness, more creativity, better finances, deeper satisfaction with life.
And remember, you're not becoming selfish or rude. You're becoming honest and self-respecting. There's a massive difference. Kindness from choice is real kindness. Kindness from fear is imprisonment for everyone involved.
So, to everyone listening, know that you have the right to set boundaries. You have the right to say no. You have the right to disappoint people sometimes. You have the right to live authentically. Those aren't selfish desires, they're basic human needs.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us today. We hope this conversation gave you clarity and courage. If you found this helpful, please explore our other episodes. We discuss topics like managing stress, building confidence, and improving communication.
We'd love to hear from you. Share your boundary-setting experiences or questions. Every journey is unique, but none of us have to walk it alone. Until next time, take care of yourself. You deserve it.
Remember, the life you want is waiting on the other side of the people-pleasing. It's waiting for you to claim it. So take that first step today. We believe in you. Thanks for listening to Easy English Talk Podcast.